Hello everyone, this is a review of the board brake from Boards, and today I'm going to be looking at construction and installation as well as how the thing rides. You will need a skateboard, a board brake, slide gloves, helmet, all the necessities, and most important of all, a longboard shirt, and even more important than that, a beard, because you can't longboard without a beard. Sorry girls. Okay, let's take a look at this baby. So from the top position you can hardly even see the brake. From the side you start to see the foot pedal. That's where you depress the brake with your heel typically. You can use it therefore in the tuck position, and as you depress it the brake goes down onto the road. Now I'm not standing on the board at the moment, so I can't really get it all the way down with my hand, but it's fairly easy to push. Quite surprising for a steel construction. And once you actually, if I can get this phone to stand, let's see if I can get this phone to balance. So you see the action. You'll need to put 3 holes in your board to get the standard longboard or skateboard 1-inch hardware through, and then you'll need a hole at the back for the foot pedal. The hole I've got is slightly larger than you would need, but I would actually, if I was going to do this again, make a elongated hole and have it slightly more back, because as you push it tends to, as you can hear there, it tends to catch the material of the board. When I'm standing on it, it's not such a problem for some reason. I think it's because the board flexes. I actually didn't even read the instruction on how to install this board brake. I just put it on. So from the bottom, this is really the area which takes all the braking. So the braking, obviously the friction happens here, creates a force in that direction, stretching this thing. So this is really all your strength and pulling on these 3 screws here. Standard hardware, washers, steel construction I've mentioned. This is a very nice thing. It's the pad. I'm used to using on brakes. I construct sort of an old piece of tire, motorbike tire, which I cut myself. It's quite nice to have a good looking square pad. It's got 4 bolts which mount. You can see them there, quite short ones, and the heads are actually embedded in the rubber so they don't get worn away. I've been using this brake for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, maybe twice a week, 5Ks each time, and it's still looking pretty good. In fact, in the middle here, that's almost as it was new. It's tending to wear down in the front and the back a bit more, but I think I've still got at least half a year. I'll get through the summer, no problem on that. Obviously it depends on how much you brake. If you're a beginner, you brake a lot. I'm starting to carve a lot, so I brake a bit less at the moment. But when you're getting around town, it's something you may use a lot. The construction, as I said, it's got this nice large head screw here, and that's really nice compared to like sort of homegrown constructions where you use a screw. Both work, but this is just a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more easy to find when you're actually looking for it. It's got this nice high density, I think, polyethylene here where you can screw the brake into, and it's reasonably easy to unscrew the brake if you want to take it off. So you could ride around without it, just having the brake down there. It sits quite snugly. Or you can also use the screwing action to sort of adjust it if you want the brake to sit really flush when you're braking, or if as the pad weighs away you might want to take it out of it. So that's really neat. I like that. In terms of construction, I would go with lighter metal. I would go with possibly even PVC or wood for this here, because the total weight is a bit much for a board that you have to carry around. I mean, a typical skateboard weighs 3 or 4 kgs. Adding another 700-800 grams to it is a bit heavy. So that's the only problem I really have with this brake. Other than that, it's really nice to have a professionally constructed brake designed, and definitely very robust and stable. This thing will never break. If we just compare it to my own construction, you can see it's a bit more of a hack. Although there are some advantages to this. So for the one is, I've got little wood screws in there which don't come through the deck. So for those of you that like your deck to be pure, there's only just one little hole there at the back. It's obviously a lot lighter, but you have to make it yourself, which could be a plus or a minus for you depending on whether you like to do that sort of thing. The screw has bent once or twice for me, so I probably need a stiffer shaft there. And on other designs I've built, the screws actually come out a few times, so always playing around with new ideas of keeping that screw in there. And I really like the board brake idea of having like a nice piece of plastic there which really holds the thread of the foot pedal. Yeah, so let's take a look and see how this baby rides. So that's the braking action. You stand in a pretty natural position. As I hang over the board to film, I can't really get all my weight on the brake, but it really stops you. You can hear it's a very quiet thing. You don't really notice it. You can cruise down through crowds of people very quietly. The only noise occurs if you hit a stone, which I'm likely to do any minute now. Although maybe someone swept this road last night. When you hit a stone, you really hear it. And then you typically would lift up your braking foot again to get rid of the stone. Let's get a picture of underneath there. It's pretty obvious how it works. And if we get a bit of speed going here, well, what I'll do is I'll actually brake and carve. Down now, controlling my speed, and I'm still carving, no problem. And then just lean back, bring it to a halt. So that's the board brake, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So just in case you were wondering and thinking board brakes are uncool because you can't slide the board, you can slide the board. Watch. Has no real effect on sliding, so it's just like as if you had a normal board. So I thought I'd just add a few more thoughts on sliding versus braking with a board brake. One of the things that is problematic with sliding, I think sliding is a cool trick when you've got an open road or a closed road or a racetrack, go for it. If you're riding through people, you can't slide because you're going to hit them. You're going to not be able to control it if you're riding through crowds, that sort of thing. So there you could foot brake or you could use a board brake. But also on open roads where you've got cars coming at you, it's not a good idea to slide, I think, because it scares cars. They think you're crashing. They've never seen a longboarder, and especially in corners, you're coming on a motorbike or a car around a corner and someone comes doing a Coleman at you. It puts our sport in a bad light, I think. So if you are braking, you look like a skateboarder who's just slowing down, and then you cause less alarm in the general populace, is basically the point. So that's another thing I think about braking, foot braking. looks a bit less drastic and people don't get shocked. And if people get shocked, they tend to phone the police and say there's someone up there doing something crazy. And we don't want the sport to look crazy.